The NeuroDADverse podcast is produced by Squid Shack Studios.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Dan.
We're both fathers,
We're both married.
and we're both raising kids with diagnosed neurodiverse conditions.
Parenting is tough, and we're not saying it's harder for us, just different.
And sometimes that different can be hard to explain.
That's why we've created the NeuroDADverse, a weekly show where we share our wins, our challenges, and all the neurosparkly and neurospicy bits in between.
Our hope is to create a safe space for parents to share their own highs and lows of neurodiverse parenting. And just to remind you of three things.
You're doing great,
You are enough.
and you're definitely not alone.
So welcome to the NeuroDADverse. Cool. All right. So, hello. Welcome back to the NeuroDADverse, which is our podcast made, definitely about, and perhaps by neurodiverse parents. We're going to discuss all the things neurospicy and neurosparkly. How are you, pal?
Hot, mate, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm warm. Sunday today when we record this just feels like a big reset day today. Just like a pause and go again. Yeah, it's all right. I'm looking forward to chatting today because obviously, I don't know about you, I felt a bit, I was going to say euphoric, that might be an overuse of the term, but I felt like good about the end of last week. It was like, oh, cool, got that. We did that. It was like a novelty thing. So now feels like that additional bit of, we've got to do this because we said we would. And that doesn't mean by any means that I wasn't looking forward to it, but it's definitely like a different energy. So yeah, I'm conscious of that. Nice. All right. Do you want to kick off by trying to sum up the week in 3 words?
Ooh, hot, sticky, emotional.
Go. That's interesting. I imagine we're probably going to get into that.
Sounds really negative, actually. I didn't necessarily mean it like that.
No. Let's not have a podcast where we think emotions are negative, Dan.
How about yours?
Busy, I think is a fair thing to say. Proud, having quite a proud moment. And you stole my you stole my temperature ones. Melty, if not only because that's how I felt a lot of the week, and also some stuff melted when it was out on the side.
Oh, well.
It was a bottle full of ice, but you know the thing. So yeah,
enough.
that's good. All right, let's fly straight in. I will always give you the choice, I think, because I like it. Do you want to do challenges or wins first?
Do challenges first.
Okay.
I think.
I'm getting a feeling that it was quite a big one, so I'm going to let you go.
Well, I suppose our situation, I suppose, this week is really, we've just had 3 really busy weeks. We went on holiday for the first time abroad for the half term. We come back, Amy's big birthday, 40th birthday, so we had lots of people coming down, breaking routine. And then it was Frankie's birthday last weekend on Father's Day. So we've kind of had just 3 really busy weeks that are not our usual sort of weeks. And this week I was looking forward to a quieter week, which it has been in some respects. But what has been different is it's really hot because we're in a heat wave. So there's me hoping that he would settle into some kind of a new routine when that's actually still in process, because now we're dealing with longer daylight hours and high temperature, which then brings emotions out a little bit more. So we haven't had a busy week in terms of people coming over as much because now it's not as birthday heavy. But sleep has been one of the main challenges this week. as in trying to get him to go to sleep and also trying to get some sleep yourself. So I feel that from when we last spoke on Sunday, I think he went to bed. I feel that he went to bed okay, a short time. But the first half of this week, up until about Thursday, he wasn't going to bed before 10 o'clock at night, which is quite a long process. You're just sitting in the dark, and obviously it's hot, so we've got blackout blinds to try and block out the light because that's lighter for longer, but now the room's warmer. We do have a little fan on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gets a bit sweaty and muggy, and
So is it not only the heat then, it's also like how bright the day is, do you think, for Frankie?
yeah, I think so. Usually this time of year, I'm still waiting for our new normal routine basically to establish. And at the start of the week, it was looking like we're going to bed at 10 o'clock every night, and that is something that was not the best. That could always
Yeah.
be better. So it's lighter, and he was going to bed late, but also it was because he was hot as well. Not sure. I think he's got a little bit of trouble with his teeth. Been giving him some medicine because I think one of his teeth might be coming through, or he might be
Oh,
losing
nice.
another one. So all of these little things just compound as always. But yeah, so just was hoping to have a nice chilled normal week, getting back into a nice sleep routine, and that hasn't happened. Not last night. Last night was a 10 o'clocker, but Friday and Thursday he did go to bed at 8:30 both nights. So we sort of turned a corner, and then
Is it just
yesterday.
sorry.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, is it just the lateness and then the lack of sleep, or does it become broken in the night because of the heat?
No, he's not. He's always been quite good at, usually, I'd say 80% of the time, if he goes to bed, he's asleep. He hasn't been getting up because it's hot. He's just not sleeping for as long. So he's going to bed at like 10, and then he was getting up at like 5, between 4 and 5. So he's getting a decent 6 hours, but then he wasn't going to sleep. Sometimes when he wakes up in the night, he'll then go back to bed, have another hour and a half, wake up and whatever. So I think he's just a little bit sort of emotional. I say emotional. He's not like having outbursts and stuff like that. He's just been a lot more sort of stubborn and like, I'm hot. And you can tell, I'm just looking at his face because he doesn't speak. He just look at me
Yeah,
and like,
yeah,
I know you're hot. I know you're hot, babe. I get it, but can we do this? He's just irritable. That's
Are
probably a
there
bad word.
like, I remember you saying last week that like he loves like water and stuff. So you've been able to like offset that by also doing like buckets of water in the garden, or
So that's
I'm not trying to start like give you. I was like wondering
no.
how clearly
You just
you
brought
can
up something
tell, like you
else.
said, you can tell that you're having like challenges with Frankie about heat, and you can tell when he's overstimulated because of the heat.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how much he's able to allow you to get in to help him intervene. I just wondered like what you do with that, and if you try and make it play or not.
So the other thing, that's a really interesting detail that I've just forgotten, but is actually quite important. So on Monday, first day back to school, he come home with like a cut or um I don't know really. It's a cut just on top of his big toe. Like top end, so right next to the toe, where he like looked like he scraped his foot because he takes his shoes and socks off at school. Like when he feels
Okay.
comfy somewhere, the shoes come off.
Okay.
So we know he plays outside, but obviously now it's
Nice.
drier. His feet come back dirty, which is fine because we know he's outside. But also now things are dry, it's probably things are harder. So we think he cut his foot. He didn't want to get in the bath for the first 3 days this week.
Okay.
Because he would put that foot in first, it would then sting because it's warm and obviously it
Yeah, yeah,
needs
yeah, yeah,
cleaning.
yeah.
And he literally would just put his toe and go, "Oh no, no." So
Right.
we couldn't call him down because he didn't want to get in the bath. So we
Oh.
watched him like sort of not in the
Yeah,
bath,
yeah,
but
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of standing around. You do what you have to do, right? But
Yeah, of
it's
course.
not the most ideal because we couldn't get his
Right.
hair
Okay.
wet and he couldn't.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So that probably didn't help. So he wasn't.
Perfect
He was a bit
storm.
upset. Yeah, he wasn't. He was a bit upset. Then we couldn't really call him down because we couldn't really use the bath. Didn't really think about the going in the garden and maybe setting up the paddling pool. But I suppose because this toe was such a fresh cut, he probably wouldn't want to do it anyway. But then on
Yeah,
Thursday, he jumped in because obviously it's scabbed over a little bit. He's used to it now. It's not a new
yeah.
annoying sensation. So yeah, that was probably. And again, I suppose with whenever I say something, I'm like, it's never that straightforward, is it? There's always like lots of
Yeah, of
little things
course.
that just build up. So yeah, that I suppose all of those little things
Yeah,
build up.
just
I'm really
managing
hoping
it.
tonight goes well.
Just
Yeah.
managing it.
But
Okay.
yeah, so now he's back into enjoying water and whatever. He's been walking around the gardens on the weekend. We haven't gone out this weekend with him. It's too hot. He didn't want to get ready, so we're not going to force him.
No, of course.
Amy went out, did some bits. I stayed with him yesterday. He just been walking around singing in the garden. So yeah, that was the challenge really. It's just the sleep and all of those little
Yeah.
factors kind of contributed to that, because I just want him to get into a good routine, because normally by the second week of a term, that's what we're going to have probably for the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's just been not optimal, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping it'll sort itself out this week.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
What about your Josh?
It's heat related, but my teenagers can definitely tell me and communicate with me. Not that that means like I'm not comparing, but you know what I mean. Like they will tell me why they're annoyed or why they're hot, and definitely will communicate to just leave me alone. But the challenge with that was that I tried to try to put things in front of them or in place with them to help them regulate.
Mm-hmm.
So like just taking them like water and drinks, ice water, that type of stuff, making sure their window was open,
Yeah, well,
asking them to have a fan on. And both of them, for kind of different reasons, were back from school Wednesday. Yeah, it was a weekday. Maybe I should keep a diary, but it's not necessarily important. The afternoon, evening, they just were both in their room, and windows weren't open because that's not what they wanted. Well, Oscar, they wanted to have their window shut. They don't like their window open. I think it's a noise thing for them, maybe. But and maybe she won't like. It's more the fact that like she's in control, and if she wants to regulate by having the window open, she'll do that. And then fans were on or they weren't on. It was like it was just a challenge back and forth with negotiation, which I get, and it's totally the thing. And I'm not complaining about them 1 second. It's just that in addition to a full day in secondary schools, both of them just wanted their own space. But when I knew that space was not necessarily well ventilated, I was like, and they weren't necessarily hydrated, I was like, I think they're going to have a problem here. And yeah, they both crashed, and we ended up with both of them not being able to attend school the next day because they just were dehydrated. You know, Laura's a nurse, so she kind of goes in for the kind of medical route. Like it was the day that they took off was hotter, and so we just balanced it out and were reasonable about it. But you know, you kind of wise after the fact, but in the is fine. Oh, we should have helped, but actually in the moment there, we were both like, we need to try to get them to help them regulate themselves. That's a tough journey, and I think they both of them were better when they went back to school in terms of like
okay, that's good.
knowing like I'll take the water from you, my window will be open, my fan will be on. So it's that kind of neurodiverse thing of a diverse thing of I've experienced a thing. Next time I will make that. But you know, I was surprised that they weren't taking the advice a little bit, because we've done this before. Like we had that huge heat wave back a couple of years ago, and it was when we were moving house. And yeah, it was all like wet bits of kitchen roll that's stuck on and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah, it's just a balance of going through and chatting to them and try to do it without not seeming like I'm saying I told you so. So yeah, it was a challenge.
Did they see it as like you were nagging them? Or
Oh,
not nagging, if that's the right word.
no, I get your question. I'm smiling
Because you're just
like
trying to be concerning. You're like, oh, babe,
Yeah,
just make sure
yeah.
you drink something.
But
Like, leave me
also,
alone.
been teenagers. Leave me alone, Dad. I know what I'm doing. And you're kind of like, it's a weird one because you're like, well, no, and also I know you know what you're doing. It's not that I don't have faith in you, but I do know that some of your neurodiversity, or diverse traits means you struggle to self-regulate. So I'm here to help with that. So it's about managing like my expectations and communications. But yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, that was my challenge. All right. On to wins.
Well, I suppose this week for me, as it's been a quieter week, my win I've kind of already alluded to because I forgot to mention it as part of the story for the challenge was just getting him back into wanting to have bath time and going to bed at a more reasonable hour than 10 o'clock at night. So yeah, it was more of a sort of rockier sort of start.
Danny, on that, sorry. So I appreciate it's still a challenge question when you're talking about the win. Were you trying to keep it same bedtime? Or did you guys have a different approach or just allow it a little bit, see how it unfolded?
So I think bedtime is just always going to be a challenge, depending on what your sort of menu of neurodiversity traits could be.
Yeah, and the menu will be rotated, as we know, as you go through. Like my experience is like 14 and 13-year-old, that menu will just change.
And then you get things that the factors like the heat, like everyone has suffered this week. It's not just us two. Everyone would have gone. This week was too much for a lot of us. So we did try and we'd take him up to bed at the same time. We just ended up staying in the bed for like 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
Which again then makes the room hotter because you're in there for longer or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we tried to keep with it. And it didn't seem like it was working. And then I was out on I went out on Thursday night and he seemed to go down easier with just him and Amy. Maybe because it was more space in the bed, like not as hot. And then
if you spend your time diving into like what was so specific and magical about that time that we got to go to bed, it is a dangerous trap because it could just be that Frankie got used to it a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, and that's where speech is obviously really powerful in terms of feedback because he could then tell us and just be like, "Dad, I don't want you in here." Like sometimes there are signs. Sometimes he just he'll be like putting his feet up against me and leaning to try and push me out. But yeah, so the win was we kind of reclaimed a little bit of the week. But then last night, Amy was out doing a birthday event like with some of her friends. So I was just like, "Do you know what? It's been really hot. Yesterday was really, really hot." And he was in the garden probably from 4 p.m. I was like, "Do you want to go outside, babe? Like now it's not as hot." Like we finally got a bit of a breeze. Our house is lovely. The living room, it's really hard to sort of regulate the heat in the living room because the only window is in the ceiling, and we live on the sort of crest of a hill. So in the summer, breeze coming up and over the hill kind of then floats through the living room and helps keep it cool. So we didn't really it was quite hot in there in the day because there was no breeze. In the afternoon, there was a breeze. I said, "Do you want to go to the garden?" And then he was just happy walking around singing to himself and having a good time. And I was like, I'm just going to let him do this because I need him to be tired because usually on a Saturday, we'll try and take him out or either do some activities or go to a Sen gym or some kind of Sen activity or we go see some. But I was just like, you're done. We've had a busy 3 weeks. Let's just stay in.
Yeah, totally.
So he didn't have the activeness that he was probably going to need to go to bed early. So I thought I'm not going to fight it.
Yeah.
And then Amy came in about 9 o'clock. We went upstairs about 9:30, 20 to 10, and within 5 minutes he was asleep. So it can happen, and that's the frustrating thing. I literally waited until 10:15, took him upstairs. He was asleep by 10:55. On Monday, we went upstairs at like 7:30, 7:45, didn't leave the room till gone 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where
Okay.
my win is. We got
Yeah,
more
yeah.
away from that and closer to a
There's
more
always a way
regular.
through it. Always
Yeah.
a way through it, which is great. Nice, man. Nice. I like that the
What was
challenge
your
and
win?
I was just gonna say the win. I like that the win and the challenge were connected. So last week I mentioned that Mabel had as part of her football team, they had like a play on the pitch thing. They're going up to Ipswich
Mhm.
to like play a 7-a-side tournament. That was yesterday. That was on Saturday.
Amazing.
31, 32-degree heat in a football stadium. And we happened
Not
to be on
easy.
this. They happened to be on the side where there wasn't any shade or shadow, including
Oh,
in the
no.
stand where we were sat. Part of the stand where we were sat, which was like it was mad. I was like driven wet, and it's everyone was driving yesterday, so uh, the drive up to Ipswich was like busy and longer than expected. I left enough time because I didn't want us to be late and stuff. And it was just warm and uh and so that
Motorways in the heat.
yeah, totally. And everyone's energy and stuff like that can sometimes be difficult. So the, I knew it was going to be a challenge from a sensory perspective, owing that we had the challenge earlier in the week of like you need to learn to regulate yourself. Obviously, I'd gone like mad on the like I had bottles of ice in the freezer just to make sure that the sensory that she was okay. But what I was concerned, well, that was a layer on top of my concern was um uh Mabel in like surroundings and kind of pressure, and watching her play football is a really great example of how I sometimes see her neurodiversity come out because it challenges her to focus. And sometimes she isn't focused or she's kind of caught in the headlights a little bit. And
Mm.
I appreciate that that's just sometimes how footballers are on a pitch. But I can kind of see, and sometimes she needs a bit more. Like I feel like she plays the game emotionally, and so I was concerned. They were little kind of 14-minute games, I think, and they had them spread out over the thing, and there wasn't much space to kind of regulate or to get away. But until I was kind of concerned that she's going to get overwhelmed, like both
Mhm.
emotionally if she doesn't has a bad touch or whatever, or doesn't tackle what she could do or needs to. And she's also kind of like she's quite concerned about other people's emotions on the pitch. 'Cause it's under 14s. Um, there's a lot of emotion, and there's lots of there's a fair few crowd of people there. There's also teams that she's never played against before, so there's a lot. And I was just in there going, okay, however this goes, it's a good memory. I want her, and I thought her and I are going to have some conflicts because I'm going to go. You need to hydrate. And earlier in the week, that had been a flashpoint, and so I tried to keep it relatively like light. Let her coach do her thing, um, and she's like, not only did they win the tournament, and got to lift a big cup in a football stadium, which was like
It's
literally the
amazing.
win. Yeah, it was so. And they'd in the group they'd lost against the team they won in the final, and so many, and like all the team played amazing. It was such a great moment to be a part of, for just to see all of them.
Amazing.
Um, she felt comfortable and confident. So they had like professional photographers, and they put photos up. It's a really fun initiative. They put the photos up, and then you get the code, and you can say, "Oh, do you want them printed out?" And I was just like, and that was a room full of people looking on the wall, and I was like, "Oh, just let her go do her thing, and if she comes back and goes, it's fine." Fully expecting her to go, "No, I look rubbish in all of them," because when we are teenagers, we don't love our appearance as much as we should probably. Um, not to overgeneralize, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's when you start to work out about yourself. And she's like, I like this one. I like this one. I wonder if we could do that. And I just was like, oh, I like that confidence coming out of nowhere.
Awesome.
And just, there was moments where like she'd take herself back to like under the stand where the bars would be. They were all shut. And she'd be kind of like in a corner, like self-regulating, knowing like she had to calm down. And it's not like I needed to give her a pep talk, but I just kept saying to her, like, you're doing really well today. Everything okay? And like she had some physical problems and physical pains and like playing in that heat and stuff. But yeah, it's just an absolute huge win. And then like her neurodiversity ended up being like a absolute superpower. I know we don't on this podcast like that particular tag, but celebrating afterwards, cup in the air, like singing randomly, like Free From Desire in the back of the car. I was like, oh wow. She's like, we've got to do this, we've got to celebrate, we've got to put this on TikTok. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. So yeah, what an absolute win.
Oh, amazing. No, that's brilliant. I tried really hard not to interrupt because that's part of my sort of my ADHD thing. No, just lovely, like listening to she say that, but also I suppose maybe kind of how I just explain my story as well. We're explaining wins, but we sound like it might not be a win. Like if you're just listening to how we sort of tell the stories, because we just know at any moment anything could happen and it all goes to pot.
Yeah.
So you're like, I was like, fingers crossed that this goes well, and you're like, well, we won, and I'm like, oh, brilliant,
yeah.
you won. Oh, you made it sound like you come last and didn't score a goal.
Well, that's not deliberate. I was super anxious and nervous. So yeah, that was a big win of the week.
So was it just you two that went?
So like, yeah. The rest of that we were not attempting to travel in with Laura and Oscar in those 2 days, in that heat on Saturday. Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves. Cool. So thank you for that. So I've just thought before we move on to the next bit, you mentioned you wanted to talk about a pantomime this week, and I remember going, don't tell me anymore because it's June. What's happening with the pantomime? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I got asked weeks and weeks ago by a local charity that supports special needs children and their families, and there's like, oh, we've got a performance coming up from the drama group, would you be interested in filming it for us? And I was like, yeah, sure, send me the date. If I'm free, I'll do it. And it turned out to be Wednesday. I only remembered on Monday. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm doing this. Like a little red flag went up, and I'm pretty sure I'm doing the same Wednesday night. Let me just double check. So it was Wednesday night and Thursday night. I was not in, and that's when Frankie went to bed. So I was like, oh, maybe he just didn't want Dad for bedtime. But anyway, so I went along to this thing, and for some reason in my head, I thought it was Shakespeare. I thought it was a Midsummer Night's Dream. I was like, I did a Midsummer Night's Dream when I was at school. This is going to be quality. I turned up and they said, oh, it's Peter Pan, the pantomime. And I'm like, oh, okay, in the middle of June. Love that. Let's do this. And it was actually really nice. They couldn't get a venue. Like they were trying to find a school to do it in. So they did it in their sort of garden, out in their garden for where they're based. They've got like this nice little, the canopies. I turned up and, sort of classic beg, steal, borrow all the equipment. They've been given like a PA system and a full set of blacks all around the edge. So like with a nice sort of scaffoldy-ish looking sort of frame. I'm like, this is amazing. Like people obviously helping. And it was just a real highlight of my week. Not non-family related, just a real highlight of my week. Just watching about less than 10, I think, kids just do 50 minutes straight doing the entire of Peter Pan. The lead 2 actors were great. They were so good. They just remembered so many lines. It was great.
There's so many of them, so much neurodiverse skill set is it just naturally kind of like goes over with performing arts. That's not to say that every neurodiverse kid is a performing arts kid, but like I've been so Oscar just loves to sing, dance, perform.
Amazing.
There is a huge anxiety about doing it in front of anyone other than the people in our house,
Mhm.
and any time other than when he comes in and goes, you need to see this performance, puts on a YouTube video of some like bizarre like song that someone has made about a computer game character, and
Mhm.
they just go off. We've been trying to encourage them to get involved with it at school. So we go to the annual production every year at their school, and it is just such a heartwarming moment just to see those kids doing stuff. So yeah, that sounds amazing. That's great.
I just thought it was. I just thought it was so. No, I wasn't expecting it to be bad by any stretch of the imagination. Just to but
Yeah,
I was just like,
but it's that
just to
part
see them
of
do it.
community. It's
Mm,
that for like feeling that actually
mm,
these people like it's that what we said before in playoff final when like you meet someone who's like a parent of a neurodiverse child, and you just go, "Oh, is that your experience? That's my experience." And
mhm,
like we knew each other anyway, but we hadn't really talked about this, so
mm.
hence the start of this podcast. Oh, that's good, man.
No,
Are
but
they? Are they good? They do regular stuff then?
yeah. So the reason I think it was a panto was they started the rehearsals for it in November, but it takes months and months of planning. So I think
Of
they was just trying
course.
to be ambitious with it.
Yeah, no,
But
it's awesome.
but no, it was great, and it's just some of the quirks that obviously work so well in panto just get really, as you say,
Yeah, cool.
exaggerated more sometimes with some
Nice.
neurodiverse aspects.
Well, maybe reach out to someone. They can come on and chat through what they do and why they do it, and if they're up for that,
Yeah, you know,
we
I can
can
talk.
we can we
I can talk to them.
we can link them in the comments or whatever.
Yeah, no, brilliant.
Uh, Sweet. Okay, cool. Shall we move on to what I've realised we've written on our joint document as a look ahead to the week ahead, which I don't think is ever going to change because I like that title.
I look
Oh,
ahead to the weekend.
and this is the point where I unprofessionally have to look at my phone. Not that this is professional. If you got this far, then you'll probably realise that. Anything big coming up in your week? Temperature drop I read earlier today. Yay!
Yeah, I mean that will obviously be a bonus. Meant to have a storm or something or some heavy rain in the middle of the week, which I'll be welcoming with open arms. No, this week I feel end of June, most of the, I think pretty much most of the birthdays are over now. Because June is crazy birthday month for us. We have so many.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's my mum and dad's wedding anniversary in the middle of the week, so maybe we see them or do something. But I also I don't know. It might just be something we do at the weekend. So I am actually, I know I said it a little bit last week, but I knew there was still bits and bobs happening. I'm really just hoping that we kind of just go for we don't have anything extra week, just to help him with the routine of sleeping and whatever else. So I don't think I've got anything particularly exciting to report from a family life sort of thing. Doing a couple of days out and about work wise, which is always nice and interesting, and because I love my job. But I'm actually just we didn't go out this weekend, or didn't force him if he didn't want to go out this weekend, just to because he needed the time to chill, and I think he's had that. So I'm really hoping that just continues.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I don't have anything super exciting to report that I can think of. I am prone to forgetting
yeah,
things, so
that's
I might
fine.
be like, "Oh my god, we got something massive happening on Thursday," but
Yeah,
at the
that's
moment, I
fine.
can't remember. What
We can
about
pick it
you?
up next. We can pick it up next week if you can remember. We have so another lovely a big win is that Mabes had her like year 9 leavers ceremony thing.
Nice. I mean, it's
We go
prom
up,
season, isn't it?
shake their head's hand, and then come back down. They've still got more time, but they start their year 10 early at her school to get you used to your options and stuff. Um, and just as an aside, I've just remembered that's another win because she didn't realize we were going, and
Amazing.
we went, and I clocked her eyes, and she was just like in rabbit head, like shaking her head. And then she spoke to a member of staff, and then like went out of the hall. I was like, "What is this?" Text me, "I'm not going. I'm not sat in the right place because I'm not sat with my class." The whole long story, and I was like, "Oh." So I just saw her, had a year over my shoulder, and I went, "Did you know that this was happening?" And like, Mabes had text me, and the head of year just went, walked out, came back, sat with Mabel. Mabel went up on the stage, got that, and she said to me afterwards she needed to do that. without going into like details. It's been a tough year. And that was just like great win. But what that means now is that they have like a week where they don't start until the following week for their year 10 classes. So they have like a 3-day thing and then a couple of inset days. So it's classic like routine change. Some challenges are going to come along with that. But then at the end of it, we got end of year football presentation for her. And so in terms of how that fits for Oscar, there's some other out of step in terms of routine stuff at their school. So at the moment, that's a bit of a roll of a dice. It was last year. Term 6 is always a bit of a roll of a dice for Oscar. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see. Nothing that is on the horizon that I'm thinking we need to plan for this because this is going to be a challenge. So it'll be one of those weeks. But yeah, looking forward to some like them progressing and growing up and meeting those challenges because as you know, I'm just often quite fearful of what's coming next. But trying to.
When it comes to things, so obviously when we have done something and we go to do it again, then we do try and apply as many sort of safeguards if we're going to make it a posh sort of. So with obviously your years ahead in terms of schooling journey to where we are.
Yeah.
So if you saying that there, are you anxious around what could happen? Or so are you planners? Like I will plan, like we will go, right, here's all the things that we think could go wrong. If it does, this is what we're going to do. So we have a plan so we can instantly as possible try and, calm it down or get us out. Are you like that? Or are you more like, let's roll with it? Because we can be roll with it people as well. But
yeah, I don't know. I think we used to joke about it that like my cousins used to kind of go, "Oh, you've messaged us a week before the thing. Are you guys okay?" I thought you just rolled with it. Like we used to make a joke and say we don't plan. Laura very much is very much in the moment. We'll sort it out when it happens. I used to be like that. I think my profession in education and certainly having the kids has been a bit more, I need to be concerned about that threat. A lot of me I hate that about myself, if I'm honest. Because it's almost like I don't like the joy kind of creeps up on me a little bit rather than me expecting joy. But I would say, yeah, we're probably a bit more planny, but like I keep referring back to this point, like the challenges we had 3 years ago are not the challenges we have now. And really, it's only in the very recently, this couple of academic year and a half, where we've realized that there are some significant challenges for Mabel, like with the masking and stuff. So, and those challenges that we did have for Oscar aren't necessarily the challenges now. So they, yeah, in answer to your question, are we planners? Not really, but we often have some conversations like, if this, then what? In terms of going through that.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you can plan for everything, and then something else happens, and you're just like,
yeah. Of course.
But yeah.
And definitely at this stage of life for them, it's like equipping them with those emotional resilient tools, which is that's what's going on. Just as we're talking about that, because planning on thinking about planning or not planning, or thinking of all the opportunities on all the threats, that sounds like a cognitive thing. So I thought before we get onto bath time scores, maybe we have a bit of a check-in about how things are. I know last week you said you'd start the ADHD process journey. Did you do anything on it? Oh,
No.
that's fun.
No.
Oh dear, you can tell it's Sunday night because I'm getting into teacher mode. Have you done your homework, Dan?
No, I have not.
Okay, fine.
But it is on the.
Yeah. No,
list,
don't go into a shame hole. That's not why I went. I was just like, let's just check in how we are about that.
No, I just I haven't, but
Okay.
it is something
Okay.
I'm gonna do.
Cool. Us. We, in terms of what's going on for me, I'm still very early stages of considering anything, but more importantly, we are almost at the final stages of Laura's ADHD 360 referral, or our part in it.
Okay.
Uh, she fixated on getting it sorted as quick as possible, which is also part of the assessment.
Okay.
Potentially, I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, we're there, and that means we can now. She has the knowledge of it. We'll do Mabel's because that's available now too.
Amazing.
All right, cool. Bath time scores. You went first last week. I'm going to go first this week.
hmm
Um,
So is this the last bath that's happened? Just to clarify, or
for
this
us,
is
it is. Yeah, it's a Sunday
okay?
night bath once a week.
Yep, fine.
So I left the pod last week and then went to have a better bath than a 5. And because that was fresh in my mind, I asked Oscar at the end when we were just getting their hair, "Oh, what would you rate the bath out of 5?" And they said, "As a 9, actually." And I swung their hair and then went like, trotted off to their room. And I remember thinking, like, that's going to seem forced if I put that in the podcast. We went from 5 to a 9. But then I also thought, it's not your score, mate. It's my score. And I'm glad that you thought it was a 9, but there was 100% some some dysregulation in terms of like discussing and speaking some commands. I was a little bit under off par. It wasn't as good as I think I can be with breaking down my language and doing my when then and giving like binary choices like soap or shower gel. So I was mixing up my language a bit too much and got told to get out quite a lot, which is common, but the get out, I'm old enough to do my bath myself, and get out, you're annoying me. It's very subtle difference, but I can get there. So, having said that, the post bath, there wasn't any like subterfuge. There wasn't any like, oh, is mum around? And then, so I was comfortable and confident enough to say that they did their hair.
Amazing.
Whether that was conditioned and shampooed, I'm not really sure. I'm conscious that I've worn hats for both the podcast so far, but there isn't anything under here, so I've lost the ability to know what it's like to wash my own hair. So I don't really know, but I was drying it, and Oscar allowed me to do the whole end thing, and that was good. Yeah, so we're going to go up to a 7 for me, so which is nice.
No, improvement. That's good. That's good. And I was going to say, actually, how on earth are you wearing a hat in this weather, man? Like,
Do you know what? It just turned. It just turned where I am. I was out in the garden doing some stuff, and I was like, "Oh, it's getting a bit nippy. I'll put this hat on." And then when, oh dear, 20 past, better sit down and speak to Dan. So yeah, so that's I wasn't planned. I'm not a planner. There we go. Hey, I've returned to my earlier self of not being as much of a planner.
no, that's fair.
Um,
Fair enough.
So, you asked me, was it last bath? And I always do the Sunday bath because we only have one. That's our little routine. Obviously, if we got caught in the rain or mud or we went to the beach, obviously we'd do that. But like, that's our routine one. And that's why the podcast happens like now, because we're hopefully between 2 baths. Is your question suggesting that you and your challenge from earlier suggesting that we were not successful before you came up?
Yeah, there hasn't been a pre-pod bath yet, so it's going to be very much we're both going to be doing post-pod baths.
Okay.
He was just having too much fun, really. It was just And I've got a friend over. He's come over for lunch and we're chilling. So, and he likes his company. So we're in the garden. We're like, let's just get him inside, see if it happens around the 5 o'clock mark. It didn't quite happen. So we're going to go again. But
Were you there going, what about the pod, Frankie? I need you to bath because I need to score the pod.
I was kind of looking at Amy. I'm like, it's 5 o'clock. I know
Well,
baths
as a fun-
can be anything between 15 seconds and 15 minutes plus. So
Yeah.
like it's going to be tight either way.
Can I put the hose on just to give it a score? No,
So,
we
yeah.
are good.
But no, yesterday,
Mhm.
yesterday's bath was really good. So, because he was getting back into the routine of getting in after say hurting his foot. So, he got in, he laid down, he let us wash his hair. He, also I made it a cooler bath than normal. I don't make them like super hot, but I was just like, actually, maybe he just wants to get into a cold bath because he does like cold water. So, made it probably 5 or 6 degrees cooler than what it probably was. And he just got in there, loved it. Then he just wants to climb out, soak me, cuddle me. I have to carry him off to dry or whatever. But I'll probably say it was for the week that we had in context, I'll be like, it was like a 9 because
Wow.
he did
Let's
everything that we
go.
needed in the context of all baths.
Yeah, of course.
I'll be like solid 7. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I was just glad that he wanted to partake.
Oh
in
no,
one.
I want it to be the 9. I think literally all we are doing with the score is a little bit of fun. It's got to be context.
Yeah,
It's got to be context.
So yeah, I'll say
Like,
9 then.
it could be a 15-minute in out, and it could be a 9. Like, I think go for it. But yeah,
It's just his little face as well. He looks at us like, yeah, we need to do this, don't we?
I've got some related questions bath time, and it is a bit too much like me telling you what works for me, so you should try this. But with the temperature thing, do you attempt any communication about what Frankie would like?
No.
Okay. Because obviously that's a complicated thing to feedback. Something I did, so I used to have this, no, I'm pausing because that's the one thing that I knew this podcast would eventually do. It would take me back to places that were really difficult. We used to have this thing where Oscar would get in. If it wasn't right, the temp wasn't right, they'd get out, and it would be, I'll be honest, hell, absolute hell, for about the next 25 to half an hour. And I struggled, really struggled. And it was also the case when we had a shower in a different place. So it was mainly a shower, but we'd have a tub in that Oscar could go in. So I had to do that break down my language thing and give the binary that I was talking about before. So I would end up doing 2 bowls, and I would go, would you like this water or this water? And that was, like, if they put their foot in the wrong one, it wouldn't go well. We just had to kind of ride that out. So we didn't have a bath in the house. We just had a shower when they were younger, at Frankie's age. But I guess you could do that with the taps.
Yeah.
Potentially, because you could be like this or that. And I don't know how comfortable you are. Well, like I said, we don't want to get into the weeds of exactly what you do, whether you're like standing on the side, inside the bath, whatever. But you could help. I'm sure Frankie is able to learn what tap is cold and what tap is hot.
But
you could have a sensory experiment, and like all of that. I'm not suggesting, dang, go do this. It was hell for me, but we got through it. Like, that's not what I'm suggesting. But I was just wondering if sometimes the temperature is the thing. Perhaps that's a little thing that can happen. Just thought of it while you were talking about it.
No, that's really, really interesting. I suppose I'm still sort of setting my, like, I've still got the bath temperature thing from when they're babies. So I still chuck that in, and I'm like, I run it, and I'm like, when that starts to flash, I'm like, so I think that flashes around 38.
Oh, okay.
He does, if it's over 40, he's like, this is too hot. And I'm like, that's fine.
That's really interesting.
But I think when we did
I mean,
it was like 34.
empirical evidence is much better than my little
No.
method.
No, I think that's great.
I wish we'd had the chat 10 years ago. Could have changed my life. No, anyway, yeah, it's good.
But no, it could be. I suppose again, it's hot today, so maybe we try that again. I suppose the reason that I haven't thought about trying to get his input at that point is usually it's kind of like he understands the word bath, but he always walks up here and he looks in there like, oh wow, where did all this water come from, kind of thing. Like he's never sort of
He's not still seen the taps.
Yeah, well, so he knows how the taps work but if he
Yeah.
walks in and we're still running the bath, he'll just walk over and turn it off, and we're like, no, baby, need that on. So the hot tap
that's
can go on and
interesting.
off like 5 or 6 times. I'm like, it's not going to be hot now because you keep turning it on and off.
Yeah. Do you think that's auditory?
Yeah, maybe we have a we have
It's
to
always
shut
a
the
maybe.
window.
It's always a maybe. Why did I ask the question?
No, but it's I think he likes the sound of water. Like it's fascinating. This is the sort of really niche conversations you can have around something, but it could be something, it could be absolutely nothing. But like we have to shut the window just because the outdoor sounds can be scary. We do get a lot of motorbikes. He's not a fan of motorbike noises or sirens and things like that. So
Yeah, of course.
I've had a few things where he'll get into the bath. We look like we're going to have a great sort of bath time, and then bike zooms past, he's out, he's run off. That's bath time over because the experience isn't going to go the way he wanted it to, and we have to react to whatever. But yeah, I've not actually thought about, because normally he just walks up, looks in, then he might walk out, go into our room, come back in, come back out, and then other times we'll just walk in, put his fiddle, whatever he's fiddling with, on the bath, and then go like that to take his top off, and then he just jumps in. Everything with him is completely varied.
Fair enough. Well, you had a good one this week, which is awesome.
Yeah, as always, Dan giving a long answer to a short question.
No, that's fun. I think that's why we have a podcast, right? Cool. All right. Well, maybe I'm really hoping that biggest challenge next week isn't, well, we tried your bath thing, Ben, and actually it was awful. But I can't not mention it on this podcast. I've got some stuff about a bedtime being in the room and not being in the room as well that I can kind of share, because I had a lot of that, like parental attachment, disattachment stuff. But I think we'll leave that for another time.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. Well, I love this. I was telling you that I didn't really, I was having a different energy about it, but it just feels nice and therapeutic to chat through stuff. Well, listen, have a great week, and we'll catch you in the NeuroDADverse next time.
Andrew, mate, have a great one. Win the day.
Nice. Let's go. That's about it for the NeuroDADverse. We'll be back next week.
If you laughed, cried, or nodded in tired agreement, don't forget to follow us and leave a review. It helps more parents find us.
Just remember, you're doing great.
You are enough, and you are definitely not alone.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at neurodadverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves.